All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a learning tool that works with your brain's 200,000-year-old design, not against it. Let's jump right in. You ever have that feeling? You're staring at a page of notes, you've read it a dozen times, and it just feels like nothing is sticking? It is such a common frustration. But what if I told you the problem isn't your memory? What if it's the method itself? You see, the real answer isn't on the page. It's inside your head. The brain you're using to study for a modern exam is basically the same machine that was perfected for survival on the savannah. We're running on some seriously ancient hardware, and that hardware has its preferences. So let's actually talk about that hardware for a minute. We need to go way, way back to understand why some learning methods feel like such a struggle, while others feel, well, totally natural. Okay, just look at the scale of time here. Our modern human brain shows up on the scene about 200,000 years ago. But writing, that's a brand new invention, only about 6,000 years old. I mean, on an evolutionary scale, we basically just learned to read and write yesterday. So for the vast, vast majority of its existence, our brain wasn't worried about reports and deadlines. Nope, it was built for one thing, survival. It was designed to track prey, find a river, spot a good cave for shelter, and most importantly, identify danger. The circuits we use today to hunt for a promotion are the exact same ones our ancestors used to hunt for dinner. And how did it navigate that world? What was its single most important source of information for staying alive? This number right here is a massive clue. That's it. A staggering 65% of all the information your brain takes in comes directly through your eyes. For our ancestors, being able to see farther, spot threats, and find opportunities was a huge evolutionary advantage. Vision became our learning superpower, and our brains are absolutely wired to prioritize it. And this brings us right to the core of the problem. We have this ancient, visually driven brain, but we try to jam information into it using methods it was never, ever designed to handle. So here's the crucial point. When we sit down and take notes in long, linear sentences, page after page of text, we're essentially trying to speak a foreign language to our brain. It just wasn't built for that. And this really gets to the heart of the disconnect. We try to learn in these neat, orderly lists, but our brain actually thinks in webs and connections, linking ideas all over the place in a beautiful, chaotic map. Think about it like this. A hunter on the savannah wouldn't just look at one tree. They'd scan the entire landscape at once, the river over there, the mountains in the distance, the tracks on the ground, and see it all as one single, interconnected environment. Our brain is designed to see the whole map, not just one single road. So, if lists and lines are foreign language, what's our brain's native tongue? Well, the answer is to start communicating with it in a way it instinctively gets. And this is where the mind map comes in. It was developed by Tony Buzan, and it's this revolutionary but actually super simple tool. It's not just another study trick, it's a whole method designed from the ground up to mirror the way your brain is already wired to work. So why are they so powerful? Because they tap directly into our evolutionary programming. The natural world is full of color, so our brain is drawn to it. Our brain naturally thinks by linking ideas together, associating things, not just listing them. And it can process a single big picture image, a map, way, way faster than pages of text. Let me ask you something that proves your brain already works this way. You're trying to tell a friend about a great movie, but you just can't remember the name. How do you go about finding it in your memory? You don't scan an alphabetical list of movie titles in your head, right? Of course not. You start branching out. You grab an association, an actor. Then you jump to another actor, then to a specific scene you remember. You're basically searching a web of connections until, bingo, you land on the answer. And that right there is the aha moment. Your brain is already a mind mapping machine. This method just takes that natural internal process and puts it down on paper, turning it into an incredibly powerful tool for learning and remembering anything. Okay, so that's the why. Now, how does this actually work in practice? Let's build one together right now. We'll use the example from the source material and map out the details of a historical battle. First things first, you always start in the middle of the page, not the top. This gives your brain the freedom to branch out in any direction it wants. Your main topic, in this case the battle, goes right there in the center. Next, you draw your main categories. Think of these like the big, thick branches coming off the trunk of a tree. Make them bold, make them colorful. For our battle, the key themes might be who was involved, where it happened, when it took place, and what the outcome was. Now, from those main branches, you start adding smaller, thinner branches with all the supporting details. But here is the absolute key. Use single keywords or super short phrases. Instead of writing, "The reason for the conflict was to gain control of valuable territory," you just have a branch off of outcome that says territory. Simple. And finally, add simple pictures and icons. Please don't forget this part. Remember, your brain is a visual processor. A tiny drawing of a clock next to the time branch or some mountains for the place will make that information stick so much better than the words alone. So, the big takeaway here is this. Truly effective learning isn't about fighting your brain, forcing it to do things it doesn't want to do. It's about understanding how it's designed and then picking the right tools that speak its native language. It's about working with it, not against it. By embracing the way our minds are actually built, to see the big picture, to connect ideas, and to think visually, we can make learning feel more intuitive, way more effective, and honestly, a lot more fun. So the only question left is, what's the first complex idea you're going to map out?